So to begin today's show, I guess I'd like to begin today's show with some of the ongoing discourse about the ongoing genocide taking place in Gaza. Sorry to start on such a fun topic, but I guess I don't know. Like I felt compelled to discuss this because I don't know. It's just been sort of sticking in my head the last couple days, and I guess I just wanted to get this out, and that is, I know you've all been waiting for ContraPoints to weigh in on Israel Palestine. Well, she finally did, and I bring this up, not necessarily because we had her on the show a couple years back, and I don't know, like she's someone whose work I have respected in the past, but like I think like there's just a couple of her comments that I just find very indicative of the ongoing sort of like crisis of managing the contradiction of liberalism as it relates to Israel and Palestine. And I'll just begin with, she opens her sort of Reddit post about this by saying, basically explaining why she hasn't engaged on this topic on her YouTube channel. And she opens by saying, is Israel committing a genocide in Gaza? Yes. Do I oppose it? Yes. Do I feel angry about it? Yes. I also feel a lot of other things. And it's the other things here that I'm really going to take issue with, because
you're really stepping into a puddle of shit when someone begins by asking themselves questions. Like we saw. I think people saw that Ken Paxton, his wife, did that. The worst type of divorce announcement, which is when the wife goes, "Due to recent discoveries," which always means child zoo. So I imagine Ken Paxton, when his wife found the child zoo, said, "Did I buy these children? Yes. Were they underneath the property? Yes. Do I have more children being delivered? Yes. But I'm still your husband and I love you." I've never heard anyone do that "I'm asking myself questions" thing, and they're not a maniac.
So, I mean, she dispenses with, just so everyone knows, she does believe Israel is committing a genocide, and she is angry about it. And then she goes on for, quite a bit about the other things she feels about it. And basically what it comes down to is that, like, yes, Israel is committing a genocide. Yes, she's mad about it, but there's nothing to be done. And like the sort of a side effect of everyone being angry about this is that it hurts the Democrats and it helps Donald Trump. And I like it's this one section here that I really want to talk about. But yeah, Felix, go ahead.
I like that part is insane to me, because she starts out her first you wouldn't call them paragraphs, I guess, like Psalms. It's kind of written like the Psalms were. Maybe it all came to her like Solomon, but she starts out by saying that Brandon, he could not have done anything. If Brandon were to stop the weapon shipments in October of 2023, according to her, it would go against decades of bipartisan consensus. It would go against all of Congress. It would be impossible for him. It would be impossible for one man, the president, to do this, to exert as much force on Israel as George H.W. Bush did, who was president 9,000 years ago. But then when she talks about again, you always know you're in trouble when your screed contains the term online left, when you are addressing the online left, because she, her big thing is that the online left, in their, the way that they have, expressed their opposition, she says, has saved 0 Palestinians and maybe, hurt Kamala's chances slightly. So Biden is completely exonerated from doing anything at all. The red line in Rafah, cutting off any weapon. No, it's completely exonerated due to bipartisan consensus and 20 years of history. The online left, due to they are held to a way higher standard than Brandon, though. The fact that they saved 0 Palestinians and did not stop this war proves that, I don't know, they should kill themselves? I mean, what is the fucking point here?
Well, okay, like if you want to brand the online left as like for all their anger or outrage or breaking with the president, it resulted in 0 Palestinian lives being saved. I think you have to weigh that against the other side of the debate, which not just did not save any Palestinian lives, but actively killed probably hundreds of thousands of them. And like, and her point about like, oh, there's nothing to be done. Like, and even if we're to believe that something like cutting off arms shipments from Israel would require the approval of Congress, I mean, does not vetoing every UN resolution that calls to Israel to account, do you need congressional approval to do that? Or do you need congressional approval to just state as the president that this is wrong and needs to stop?
Yeah, it ignores that there's a series of repeated affirmative choices that the president has singular authority over. But the other thing, okay, if we are going to frame things in this way, what did the online left they said stop the genocide, and the genocide didn't stop. If we are going to frame everything that way, then I think ContraPoints, who every article that has ever been written about her pre like 2021, the woman combating the online right, the woman fighting the alt-right, how has that gone? How has that gone?
Good point.
Is it 1-0 ContraPoints? Or what? I don't know. Is racism a taboo again? Did you pull that one off? I don't know. If we're just looking at the scoreboard here.
Oh, it's also just so sinister dropping this in the midst of like constant revelations about how at these ersatz aid sites, like Israeli soldiers are just opening fire on children, so like the timing on this, makes it even worse if that's possible.
Well, I mean, the timing on this is like, this is what I mean by like the contradictions can't be managed anymore. Like the timing on this, I think, is time to these ghastly revelations about just like the aid distribution centers that are just shooting galleries. I mean, I saw something the other day that they're shelling people from naval vessels who are queuing to get flour. So like, so now it's like she feels she has to say something, but she has to say something in a way that will, I don't know, preserve this idea that the people doing this, or at least who did it up until Donald Trump became president, have to be exonerated in some way. And there's one section, it's Psalm number 3 that she writes here, under the headline Dread. This is the thing that really stuck in my mind and has bothered me the last couple of days. She writes here under Dread, the online left has spent the last 20 months distributing hundreds of photos and videos of dead Palestinian children. The main effect has been to create a population of people in a constant state of blood-boiling rage with no consequential political outlet. And there's just something about that I find so distant. I mean, I just find it so evil because, like, the fact that there is no consequential political outlet for the rage that one naturally feels seeing human life exterminated en masse is largely due to the Democratic Party and like the politics of this country that you're telling us cannot be changed in this regard. But then like it's this idea that like it's just nihilism or something to be aware of or to share images of the reality of this conflict. And even calling it a conflict is honestly somewhat distasteful to me. But like those images that you see every day, like think about how many Palestinian journalists have been executed precisely because they gave their lives to share the reality of what is being done to them. And to say that like sharing those images or like highlighting the reality of this genocide is just sort of a nihilistic gore is nihilistic gore porn, and that it gives people blood boiling rage with no consequential political outlet. Like, how is it supposed to make you feel?
Yeah. Natalie, would you say this about documentation of the Holocaust, and if so, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? What is the actual difference here?
Well, she says, does this mean Israel should not be criticized and sanctioned? Absolutely not. But it's something I don't want to risk contributing to if not outweighed by tangible benefits. So I approach the issue cautiously.
That not addressing that did not help Kamala. Like, what do you think is going on here? Do you think that people saw the one Kamala press conference where she went, it needs to stop, and then didn't talk about it for the rest of the fucking campaign and decided, too anti-Zionist for me, not voting for her? I mean, I look, again, we hate to try to get inside someone's mind here, but it does seem in this case that there is both the fact that this only exists, this decree only exists because she does not like the reply she has been getting for the past 2 years. And in some sense, more importantly, it seems like she resents the fact that she has to think about this insofar as she has to do anything, or that she has to talk about this. That thing about the imagery of the genocide is incredibly revealing.
It's this idea that, like, seeing images that depict the reality of the mass slaughter of human beings, that, like, because there's no consequential political outlet for that anger and, like, the very clear demand that this needs to stop and that U.S. complicity in this genocide must end. And, like, and if further than that, like, it needs to be confronted by U.S. power rather than actively abetted. The fact that there's no political outlet for that in the Democratic Party, like, makes it so that you talking about it is pointless. Because, like, oh, well, if you saying you're against genocide isn't immediately going to stop the genocide, then you should just chill out and be a little cautious about it because it's hurting the Democrats, who are otherwise the good party.
We're also living in the age of consensus, like the whole Biden administration, extended network of messaging was about being cautious as we, aid and abet a genocide. So, like, that's already the consensus we live in. And to, like, throw the word caution in after confirming that it's a genocide, knowing that your government is doing a genocide in your name, shouldn't that, necessitate perhaps throwing caution to the wind,
Yeah. Because, like, what's the negotiation here? Like, are we going to get Medicare for all if we let them do this? And like, I guess this is where I'm at with that. Like, because, like, yes, it does seem very bleak. And, like, I've seen other people say that just sharing images of this just desensitizes people. I mean, I think that's telling on yourself, because I'm not desensitized to this. Every day when I see this, I feel shame and disgust, but also I feel like more pressing than ever that there is no hope, there is no future for anyone in this country under these terms. Like, you are not going to get a good, positive political outcome in this country if you just look the other way when it comes to the carrying out a genocide.
Well, that's what the Democratic Party asked us to do in voting for Kamala.
And it is an insane bargain if you choose to see it on those terms. Because if this is an acceptable price to pay, then what is it, and just stopping this, being opposed to this is not enough. That is not enough in its own moral terms for you. Then what is stopping them from the next, 100,000 or millions that are killed? Nothing. There's absolutely nothing. This is a test of what you will accept. And for you, I guess you passed it. You will accept anything if it is brought to you under the right terms.
And, like, I do rue the fact that my opinion on this doesn't seem to have much of a political effect. I mean, well, look, it's had a political effect in that we've seen a sea change, at least among Democratic voters, about how favorably they view Israel. That has happened, and it has been a tidal wave that has happened over the last year. And if you want to say that that's irrespective of the protests and the increasing public presence and vocalization of pro-Palestinian solidarity, fine. Have at it. But Felix, to underscore your point once again, your vote is the only leverage that you do have for the most part. Protest is a part of that. It's a form of leverage. But at the end of the day, your vote is what you have to offer these people. And if the position is that, like, you still have to vote for them in spite of their active support of a genocide, and you've proven that you will vote for them regardless of that, then what won't you vote for them over? Like, what's the red line here?
Well, also, if you're ruining the idea that, like, you know, there's no politics to be done about this, shouldn't that necessitate withholding your vote from the people that are making it so that your voice has no place, you know, in policy around this issue?
It is all part of a determinist view of politics. I don't know if you saw the most recent poll on Trump and immigration, but it is, I mean, this is, I'm always saying it's 2017 again as sort of a wish casting thing. I would love to do the movie Zac Efron's 17 again, but it's 2017 again, and it's about me. But it's, I mean, Trump, and this is not Democrats. This is just like all registered voters, I think. It's something like 70-30 opposed to Trump's stance on immigration. Every poll that we saw from fall of 2024 that, supposedly was the reason that we have to, there has to be like a $40 billion budget for ICE every year in perpetuity, completely and entirely reversed, even among Republicans, in part because, as we talked about at the time, these things poll one way. These policies, mass deportations, this time of draconian enforcement, when people see it in practice, they actually do not like it. We can have a lot of conversations about how stupid voters are, but that is the case. And this was supposed to be the one issue that is immovable, despite the fact that it has moved so much in the last decade. Back and forth. But this like dead consensus of like left liberalism, the people who are like Stannis Baratheon's army for Elizabeth Warren, they're offering this vision, this view of politics where even an issue like an 80-20 issue like this, like cutting off weapons to Israel, it is untouchable because of all the 97-year-olds in Congress. It's trying to convey some type of like some sort of moral seriousness and just, I guess, sort of like cynicism towards the process, but it's just completely ignorant of how any issue is actually swayed amongst American voters.
Well, it's because, like, I mean, look at the way Trump governs. Like, do you think he gives a shit about opinion polls and about how popular or unpopular his agenda is? I mean, his agenda is about as popular as scabies right now, but it's full steam ahead as far as I can tell, because like the people who do support his agenda will vote for him based on that. And for the people that are movable, I think they just follow someone who they think is like strongly committed to what they're trying to achieve, rather than someone who is constantly changing their positions based on what they think other people want to hear.
This is something the Democrats habitually misunderstand, right? Like during the election, Kamala Harris, they always put the messaging cart before the policy horse. And so, like, during the election, didn't Kamala release some, like, weirdly draconian, looks like kid gloves compared to what we're seeing now, but weirdly draconian immigration plan in response to polling from the American electorate saying, like, oh, immigration is our number one issue? Like, the policy leads the opinion. And, like, Democrats simply do not understand this. Well, in fact, if American opinion is this far, like, ahead of you in terms of policy, that should make it, like blue skies for you to actually, like, meet up with where the American electorate is, right? Like, America backing Israel in Gaza is incredibly unpopular. And so if you're the Democratic Party who can't be fucked to, like, catch up, I guess, that's where the dread comes in.
Dread is, Trump just passed the most unpopular bill in history, right? Part of this bill is, as we talked about last episode, this exponential increase for funding for ICE. I do think that a lot of that will fortunately be swallowed up by the contractor bloat state. And there is some silver lining just in the fact that it just takes so long to recruit and actually hire ICE agents, and no amount of money can really speed that up significantly. But they may as well just pass a constitutional amendment stating that ICE's funding level will always be this, and almost everything else that is in that monstrosity. Because what Democrat that could realistically be given the nomination in 2 years, who among them would have the nuts to decrease ICE's funding?
Even a little.
They're immediately running from that fight. And to me, that is despair. That is despair. If you're a Democrat, I don't know how you can look anyone in the eye and say, yeah, let's see, get excited for the next 75 years of undoing this bill, provided that we win the White House consistently every 4 years for the next century.
Well, I think it comes down to is like this expectation that voters only want politicians to follow their lead, and it's just like, no, leaders don't just see what the people want and give it to them. Like, leaders have to bring people with them, and like people just want to be told what to do. They want to be told what to think. And this constantly hiding behind voters, for Democrats at least, is an indication that they don't really believe anything outside of, supporting Israel and deregulating Silicon Valley.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm Steve Harvey here, but it's when you're out on a date, you don't want to go, well, what restaurant do you want to go to?
Yeah.
That's how I'd put it for them.
Well,